Airsoft GI would like to thank our sponsors.
Hi GI TV, I'm Bob the Axeman Hildebrand. Now recently you may have noticed we did a review on the VFC M&P 9C. Now this is the first pistol that VFC has put out and we want to do an accuracy test, but since we had no other VFC gas blowback pistols to stack it up against, we decided to do a separate video testing it against other compact pistols that are already out on the market. So the pistols we've chosen are the KJW Sig Sauer P229, another compact pistol out there, and we've also got the HK USP Compact Tactical. Very good pistol. I believe Tim has used this a number of times. We're going to take this out to the firing range, test the accuracy on these guns, and see how they stack up against each other. We're also going to come back and take this out to the range and test the full auto feature on the VFC M&P 9C and see how it stacks up against other full auto pistols. So we're going to head out to the range right now, but make sure to stay tuned for the full auto portion. I don't think you want to miss it. Let's go. Alright, so at 30 feet, this gun did pretty well considering it's a compact pistol. The grouping is on the left. The gun does seem to pull a little bit to the left, but also my shooting stance is not perfect. But again, compared to the VFC, the action is crisp, similar to the M&P, but I believe the grouping on the M&P is a little bit better. Alright, now as you can see here, the grouping is on the right. That was me trying to compensate for how the previous pistol fired, but honestly the grouping on this is pretty darn good. As you can see, I've got that little double tap there in the center, which I'm pretty proud of. But yeah, very tight grouping, but only 14 rounds in this pistol. Alright, so by the looks of it, the KJW SIG P229 is the most accurate pistol of the bunch. It's also the most similar out of these three to the M&P. It's just a little bit heavier. The action is very crisp, just like the M&P. To be honest, these guns would have been almost identical to each other, the M&P and the SIG, if I hadn't overcompensated for the M&P earlier in the shoot. Alright, so we're back from the range and we can clearly see how this pistol stacks up against its competitors, namely the KJW Sig Sauer P229 and the H&K USP Compact Tactical. Now we're going to also head back out to the firing range to test out the VFC M&P 9C's full auto capability against other full auto capable pistols on the market. More specifically, the KWA M93R. Very cool pistol, very recognizable. We're also going to stack it up against the WE Samurai Edge. This is a pistol from the game Resident Evil used by, I believe, Barry Burton. I can't wait to use this. I've never fired a Biohazard or Resident Evil gun yet, so I'm very excited. But we're going to head out to the firing range and see how it stacks up. Let's go. Alright, so first I have to say the Samurai Edge put out a lot of gas outside of the gun that did not go down the barrel, but did get all the rounds on target that were grouped a little bit below the red dot, as you can see here. That was mainly because the blowback was pretty hefty and I had to compensate by pushing the gun down a little bit, but as you can see as well, all the rounds did land on the target, which is very important. Alright, so even though some of the rounds are far apart, I'm actually really impressed with this grouping. As you can see, I've got 11 rounds on the target. Only 3 are either on the white part of the paper or onto the wood, but generally the majority of the rounds are around the center mass, which is really great. And honestly, all of this happened in a second or less. This is 14 rounds a second, and also this gun didn't really expel any gas that didn't go down the barrel. As opposed to the other guns, all of the gas was going right down range. Alright, so as you can tell here, the grouping is definitely not all together. I will say the first 10 to 15 rounds I fired were on target, but I can explain where the rest of these went because the gun is a bit heavy and the recoil is intense. Now I will say the gun does give a very satisfying clang when you fire it, and there is quite a bit of ammo in that magazine, but it does become harder to control the more you fire it. But yes, again, the first couple rounds you have will probably be on target, but after that is going to be a little bit tougher to control in the long run. Alright, so as is readily apparent from the tests we just conducted, the VFC M&P 9C is directly comparable to the other pistols we tested, namely the H&K USP Compact Tactical and the KJW SIG P229. Now for me, that is VFC knocking it out of the park, because these other companies have been in the market for gas blowback pistols for quite a while now, and the M&P 9C is VFC's first addition to that market, and I think they did one hell of a darn good job. The pistol response, or excuse me, the trigger response on the pistol is very crisp, the blowback is not so much that it subtracts from my accuracy, and it's not too little that it subtracts from the fun value. So it's right in that middle ground of pure awesomeness. Now, as a personal preference on pistols, alliteration aside, I would prefer a more full-sized M&P, so I'm probably not going to be as happy with the compact version. I'm going to be waiting for the full version to come out later this year. But again, that's personal preference. Now, as far as the full auto tests go on concerning this pistol, we found out that the M&P9C fires at a rate of 15 rounds per second. So you're going to dump that 14 round mag in less than a second. Pretty darn cool. Now the Samurai Edge actually fired at a rate of 16 rounds per second, as did the M93R by KJW. Now you notice on the full auto test that the shot dispersal on the other two guns was quite a bit wide and not as much on the M&P9C, and that's partially because the other two guns had quite a bit more rounds in the magazine, around about 30 rounds per gun, as opposed to the M&P9C that only held 14. Now it is also a compact pistol, and those other two pistols were not so much, so I gotta say I'm really happy they include the full auto feature on there. It makes it a much more versatile gun, and it makes me more likely to purchase it. But that is my personal opinion. I really hope you guys take a look at this pistol, as well as the other ones we used to test in this product. I think a lot of these have their place in the market, especially the M93R. But for right now, I highly suggest you check out our website for all the cool new stuff coming out. I'm Bob the X-Man Hildebrand, and this is GITV. That's the range right now, but make sure to stay tuned for the full auto portion. I don't think you want to miss it. Let's go. Yeah! Oh, shit!
Let's go!
Damn it! That's twice! Ah. God damn it!
I saw him open the door.
Why didn't you do anything?
I didn't say anything because it's funny.
I have the M93R in hand.